Hello, my name is Caleb Kriesman, and today I will be explaining the basics of chess. Before you can start playing chess, it's important to understand how to set the game up. To start setting up the board, make sure that the white square is on the bottom right hand side of the board. Each player will then start with 8 pawns, 2 bishops, 2 knights, 2 rooks, 1 queen, and 1 king. The starting location on the board are as followed. The rooks go on the outermost squares, then the knights, then the bishops. Then the king and the queen are on the inner two most squares. The second row, however, is a lot easier as it consists of nothing but pawns. Next, we will talk about piece movements. First up are the pawns. Pawns move only 1 square forward, except for when it's their first turn, they have the option to move 2 squares forward. Pawns are the only piece that don't attack in the same direction that they move. Pawns attack diagonally. Next, we have bishops. Bishops move and attack diagonally in any direction, in any amount. Knights move and attack in an L shape. This L shape consists of 2 squares in one direction, then 1 square as long as that square is 90 degrees from the last direction. Next we have rooks. Rooks move and attack forwards, backwards, and side to side in any amount. Next we have the queen. Queen move and attack in any straight direction in any amount. Queens are usually regarded as the most powerful piece on the board, as they work both greatly for defense and offense. Finally, we have the king, which moves and attacks 1 space in any direction. Some essential rules to understand when starting a game of chess are as followed. So who goes first? The white pieces will always go first. It's up to you and your opponent to decide who will start with the white piece. This can either be decided between you and your opponent or with a coin flip. Next, we will talk about promoting. Promoting happens when a pawn gets to the last row on the other side of the board. The pawn is then promoted to any piece except a king and another pawn. Next, we will talk about castling. A player may move a king 2 spaces to any side of its original starting point, and the rook to the opposite side of the king if the following criteria is met. It's the first move for both the king and the rook. There are no other pieces between the king and the rook, and the king isn't in check. Now, how do you win a game of chess? You can either win by putting your opponent's king in checkmate, or your opponent can resign their king, or your opponent runs out of time, but this is only if you're using a timer when playing. However, that's not the only way a game of chess can end. Another way a game of chess can end is with a stalemate or a draw. This happens when you or your opponent's king is not in check, but no more legal moves can be made. With that, you now know the basics of chess and can start playing with your friends or even online. Thank you for listening.